is look at it from the perspective of how much air can reach the fuel surface. The more air that can reach the fuel surface area, the more surface mass ratio you have. And the faster the heat release rate will be, or the BTU rate, the higher the BTU rate will be. Okay? All right? So the crib looks like a crib. Like we showed you an example of that. And the Christmas tree is a Christmas tree. We're going to be dealing with the couch today in our lab. Right? We're going to be dealing with the couch, and that couch is going to be 20 square feet, 3 feet wide, big enough to lie on. Okay, the kind that we like at home, right? You can stretch out, you can lay on it, you can have remote control, you can have your dog up on there on the couch with you, you're watching TV, you know that kind of day, right? That's the kind of couch we're burning today. It's going to be 3 by 7, okay? And roughly, well, it's 21 square feet, roughly 20 square feet. And if I was going to take that and load it to the test load, that couch was going to represent the test load. How much would it weigh? 210 pounds. Okay, now a couch that you can lie on is about 210 pounds. It's right about there. Okay? All right, we'll say this, we're going to do some easy math for you today. So we're going to say a 20 square foot area, our couch is 20 square feet. Okay, it's going to weigh 200 pounds. And it's going to be loaded at the test load. So that's what the fuel's going to look like. And then we're going to take that fuel and I'm going to tilt it up on its end. Okay? So instead of being flat and laid out, it's going to be tilted up and down. Which way is it going to grow faster? Laying flat or standing up? Why does it grow faster standing up? Surface and mass ratio in relationship to the heat. It has the same air relationship. It has the same air exposure. But the difference is the heat is going to capture what part of the heat? Right, the convective heat is also going to be heating up the material. Isn't that cool? So we're going to be looking for that. Right? And that convective heat represents how much of the fire's energy? 30%. And the radiant energy represents how much of the fire's energy. And then we're not going to test conduction here. We're going to trust you that you get conduction. So if you fall in the fire and you catch on fire with it, what are you going to do? Good, excellent. All right. Okay. So we'll stay on that, right? And we're going to play around with it. If I take 40% of the heat off, how much cooler does the fire become? 40%, okay? All right? Okay, so if I let the light source energy, is that the radiation energy? It's the light source energy, okay? Come off to me, how much more have I added to the fire? 40%. Okay, so I can shield myself from 40% of this energy if I can block the light source energy. Or I can protect myself from 40% of the convective energy if I stay out of it. Where should I stay? On the ceiling or on the floor? Why on the floor? Heat rise. Okay, so the room is going to be in a thermal balance, and you're going to recognize this when we get in there. You're going to see the cool air coming in. You're going to see the hot air leaving. I want you to look for that today. Okay, I want you to look at that and go, oh, look at that. I can see the cool air going in. So what I'll do is I'll put some water on the floor, and that water will heat up. I'll start turning to steam, right? And you'll see it, the condensation on the floor and everything come off and start leaning towards the fire. You'll be able to see the air pathway going to the fire. Okay. I want you to watch that development rate. Because what is the ventilation profile for ordinary development? 10%. 10%. Excellent. Wow, they must have hit that hard on Friday. Okay, good. So 10%, right? And that is 10% of the total box, or is that 10% of the square footage of fire?
Square footage of fire.
Good. It's the square footage of fire. So if I have 20 square feet burning, what is ordinary ventilation? 2 square feet. Okay, so those windows and those doors are into any of those represent 2 square feet? Way more, right? Way more. Okay, so we're going to be underventilated or overventilated? Overventilated. So what's that going to do to our relationship to our starting point, our test? What does that mean?
It's going to advance it.
Yeah, it's going to advance. So when you say advance it, higher on the curve, what is it? Is that going to be a faster development or a slower development?
Faster.
At ordinary development, with ordinary fuel, 8,000 BTU per pound fuel, loaded 10 pounds per square foot with 10% ventilation opening, that in 5 minutes, we'll get 1,000 degrees at the ceiling of convected energy. Okay? Now we're going to see that Does it take 5 minutes for us to get 1,000 degrees of ceiling in our box? Because how's our field different, we're talking about right now, than what it was in the test? We got a couch, tipped up, right? It's not in the center of the room, okay? And we're what in ventilation relationship? We're overventilated. We got all the windows and doors open. Okay, so it's going to go faster than 5 minutes, right? The flame is touching the ceiling. The flame starts to bend and roll. You're going to have 1,400 degrees right about there. That's 1,400 degrees. 1,400 degrees is more than 1128. What does it take to light off CO? 1128. Okay, and what is the flammability range of CO?
12.5 to 74.
Excellent. 12.5 to 74. That's a wide range in our world. That's a big range. Okay? So inside that big range, we get an ignition source of 1128, we can ignite that gas off. Right, now that gas, what will light off is the area that you're seeing that gas is covering, that CO is covering. So now you're taking a fire that's here, and you spread it out to the whole box. Okay? A cubic foot of that will give you 323 BTUs. Give you an idea how many BTUs are coming off. A gallon of water will absorb 9,330 BTUs. You got 323 BTUs to deal with. That roll across the ceiling, the best science right now tells us that we're at 6 inches to 12 inches per second. Okay, that's fast. You ain't gonna outrun that. Which is why we don't crawl under this stuff. Right? We want the light out in front of us and manage it. Or remove it. If I can remove the convective gas, how much of the fire's energy have I removed? 40%. Isn't that a good day? If I can shield myself from the light source, how much of the fire's energy have I gotten rid of from me? 40%. Okay. Alright. So now when this fire grows, this ceiling starts to roll, ignites the gas at 12 inches per second, we get initial source, we think the BTUs come out through, we have fire on the ceiling, and we have zero visibility. On the opposite end from the fire. Farthest away from the fire. Right? We're at zero visibility, and I can find 500 degrees mid-wall, and I have off-gassing at the floor. Okay, which means the point in the fire, the energy coming out of the ceiling, the 0.9 to 1.8 BTUs per second per square foot, is coming off the ceiling, hitting the floor, and the floor is done absorbing it, which shows up as off-gassing. It's giving it up. That's what's off-gassing. It's heat. It's off-gassing. It's giving it up, right? It's coming up. And I'm at zero visibility. 500 degrees mid-wall, grow stage blue. This room could flash. Could flash. Okay? Doesn't mean it will. Could. We're in the parameters for this thing to flash in this 8-foot box. We're there. If we can break now any one of these things, the fire on the ceiling, the growth rate here, or clear out the gas, we can stop it from flashing over. Isn't that cool? This event happens here in the fire growth curve. It's the transition between growth and fully developed. The fire can go from growth to fully developed without flashing over if one of these parameters is out of whack. It'll just go to fully developed. Okay? How do we find 500?
400.
Show me what 400 looks like. Try it again. See, now your 400 was at your shoulder. That means you're right there. You look at the other eye. Your 400 is right here. Okay? All right? That means your head caught on fire before your hand did. Okay? So let's do this right. Your hands above your head. Okay, it's fine. Good. Okay? All right, so today we're going to practice in finding that 400. That 400 relates to this 500 degrees at mid-wall. We're trying to find 400 down here. Right? And as we can stand up, the farther the fire is from us.